The last class we have seen about file system interface and implementation. So now we go with this one. In the last class, we have seen about file system, and we have seen what is a file concept. We have seen how many types of files are there. We have seen text file, source file, object file, executable file, and we have seen properties of the file. What are the files having the properties? So we have seen name, identifier, type, location, size, protection, and we have seen about one more property, time, date, and user identification. File operation, creating a file, writing a file, then reading a file. So then repositioning within the file, deleting a file, truncating a file. And we have seen how we can append and rename the file. And we have seen some more file operations, file things. One is file pointer, file open count. So how many times we have opened that particular file. Disk location of the file, where is the file in the hard disk. Then access rights, whether you are giving a permission for reading, writing, or adding extra thing, that is what appending. So we have seen all this. Then file types. So an operating system can operate the file in the required manner. So file type, the files can be executable, object, source code, batch, text, word processor, library, print or view, archive, and multimedia. Then this is about a file type. In the same way, usual extension. So what are the extensions of the particular file? And we have seen, and the functions of the files we have seen. And we have even seen access mode. What are the different types of ways we can access the particular file? One was sequential. Sequential means what? One after the other. And next one is a direct access. So how can I go directly to the 10th page? That's what is called as a direct access. So then the other access methods. So how are the other access method? One in that is a indexed. So how I am going to point um, how we have your textbooks where you have an index page, or when you do your project works also you have an index page. So what you have in the index page, where from where is my, in which page my literature survey is there, in which page my methodologies are there, in which page what is there. So that's what here the other access methods are also there. So then data structure, directory structure. So now we start with the directory structure. So the file system of the computer can be very large. So how much is the size of your hard disk? It is very large. So you may say right now we may have a 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, even we may increase the size of the storage. So in the same way, how much, what is the directory we can create? How many directories we can have? The file system of the computer can be very large. So I may have a very large hard disk. That's what is called as a very large. To manage all these data, we need to organize them. The disks are split into one or more partitions. Typically, each disk on a file on the system contains at least one partition. So generally what we do for a hard disk, we minimum partitions at least will be one. So where if I say only one partition, in one partition we may keep all our system files, and another partition we can make it for a user. So how much space is available? For that we generally do. So which is a low level structure in which files and directories reside. So that's what right now you can open your system or laptop and you can check there. So we have made the partitions, but in early days, maybe think of 30 or 40 years down the line, there was no partitions, and to do that partitions are also, it was very difficult those days, not right now. So how was that? So that was completely in one storage. So that's what we called it as a one directory. So we'll see the diagram also. One disk each treated as a separate storage device. How this disk is and how we are going to store. Whereas other systems allow partition to a larger than a disk to a group disk into a one logical structure. That's what here you can see. Each partition contains information about files within it. This information is kept in a device directory or volume table of a content. The device directory record informs such as name. So what is the name of the directory? What is the location? Where you have this location? What is the size? And what type of all files on the partition? So figure 4.3, what you are seeing in this diagram, you can see shows file system organization. So one is partition A and another one is a partition B. So files directory, and the disk one. So partition C directory disk 2, disk 3. So these are the file and the typical file. How do we do? So generally we don't do partition. That's what completely only one. So you have a directory in that all files you're keeping. And whereas if you do partition, so there will be one directory, within that how many files. The same way how we do folders. So you may say operating system one folder, in that all your module 1, module 2, ppts, notes, everything you keep. Those notes we are calling it as a files. And the folder you give some name, that is what is called as a directory. So various operations that can be performed on a directory. What are the operations we can perform on the directory? We can perform search for a file, create a file, delete a file, list a directory, rename a file, and traverse the file system. Search for a file is what we need to be able to search a directory structure to find the entry for a particular file. So now you have stored operating system module 3. When you are keeping a module 3 in your thing and you want to search or open or read for your exam, then you, how do you search? You may remember the file names, or you may not remember, but at least you can search. So that's what we are doing in a search for a file. Next one is a create a file. So how do we create a file? New files need to be created and added to the directory. How do we create? So we just say click on, whereas in the DOS prompt we have a commands. So what we do, change mk is make directory, md is make directory. So some commands are there in a DOS operating system. Whereas with the Windows we have different formats. You just right click and say that this is what the formats are. That's what a create a file. New files need to be created and added to the directory. Delete a file when the file is no longer needed. We want to remove it from the directory. So when if our work is done, then we may say delete a file. List of a directory, we need to be able to list the files in the directory and the contents of the directory entry for each file in the list. So rename a file as the name of the file represents its content to its user. So how do we rename? Sometimes you would have given module 2, but actually that was a module 3. So then I want to rename that particular thing from 2 to 3. So that's what we may use a rename file. As the name of the file represents its content of its user, the name must be changeable when the content or the use of the file changes. Renaming a file may also allow to position within the directory structure to be changed. So what we do, how do we rename? We rename when the contents are changed. The same way, traverse the file system. A file may need to be copied into another storage device like tape, pen drive, etc. And the disk space of that file released for reuse by another file. That's what here traverse the file. So these are some of the operations of the we can perform on a directory. Search for a file. How do we search a file? Create a file. How do we create a file? Then delete a file, list a directory, rename a file, and traverse the file system. That's what these are the various operations which we can do it on the directory. So now, as I told, if you have only one directory, that's what a single level directory. The simplest directory structure is a single level directory. All files are contained in the same directory. So when you are keeping all your files in one directory, then we call it as a single level directory. Are contained in the same directory, which is easy to support and understand. So what we do, everything, that's what similar like your bag. If you have a bag where you don't have partition, you have only one thing where you keep all your pen, books, everything. So that is what similar like your single level directory, where you are keeping everything in one only. So we can see in the next slide how the single level directory is there. There are again certain limitations for a single level directory. Same way you see your bag where you have only one pocket. And if you have kept your books, pen, pencil, everything in the same place, then it will be difficult for a pen to take a pen from your bag because everything you have kept there only. So that's how here also, even if you are creating a single directory and you're keeping all your files in that, searching also will be difficult. That's what all, as all files will be in one directory, each file should have a unique name. As there are more users on the same system, each one of them should remember their file names, which is difficult. That's what here. So if we consider only single level directory, then it will be very difficult how to remember all those. Now suppose Ashok is having his laptop and there is only one directory, and he is keeping all his system files as well as his other files in the same C drive, and he has not partitioned. By mistake, if he deletes the system files, then his laptop will not work because he has deleted, by mistake he has deleted operating system files. That is also one disadvantage. So it is not possible to group the related files together. So what we cannot group. Now suppose you think that you're done with your Java program, you're doing your data structure program, you're doing your CN program, and you keep all program one, program one, program one. Then how will you differentiate between which program is program one Java, which program is CN program? So that's how the difficulties are there. That's the difficulty in a single level directory. That's what you can see in this image. If you keep all your files in only one single directory, so you can keep your cat file, all the file, test, data, mail, content, all your records, everything you're keeping in only one directory. That's what is called as a single level directory. So this is a diagrammatic representation of your single level directory. So in the same way, now what Ashok will do is he will create two directories, one for system files, one for his files. So then system files he is not touching. So then he'll touch all whatever Java CN programs are there. He'll do it in some other partition, that is second partition, and he will give some name. So then there is no chance of deleting any system files because he has partitioned. Yes, the same way here, two level directory. A solution to the problem faced with a single level directory is to create a separate directory for each user. Same way here, when you are doing your lab in DBMS lab, maybe in your last semester you would have done. So in that case, what you will be having, each one of you will be given a username. So where each of you have to log in and do your work there and execute. That's what, where you are keeping all your files in one place called as a server. Same way here, what we are doing is we are creating a directory, and that one is given for each user. In a two-level directory structure, each user has his or her own user file directory, that is what UFD. Each UFD has a similar structure but list only the files of a single user. When a user job starts or a user logs in, the system master files directory, that is MFD. So what is MFD? Master file directory. What is UFD? User file directory is searched. The MFD is indexed by the username or a account number, and each entry point of UFD has for that user. Two-level directory is shown in the figure. We'll see how we can do. When a user refers to a particular file, only his own UFD is searched. Thus, different user may have files with the same name as long as all the file names within each UFD are unique. That's what you can see in this diagram. So user 1. So now I'll give user 1 as Ashok. User 2 I'll give for Bhavisha. User 3 myself. User 3 one more person. What user 1 is doing, what Ashok is doing, he will keep all his programs in his file, in his directory. And Bhavisha will keep all her files in her own directory. That's what you were doing in a DBMS lab. Same way, that is what is called as a two-level directory structure. So here one level is master files, where you create one separate space for you people to keep all your files separately. That's what is called as a two-level directory structure. So that was about 1, 2. So now we move on to tree structure directories. So maybe sometimes we may require so many people. Now suppose you think that in your class you are 53 people. So for 53 people also I have to create a separate accounts. Even you think, imagine about your Gmail, how many of us are there, how many of us are using Gmail. Then to represent them, it will be very difficult. That in that case, we are using something called as a tree structure directories. So you would have seen in your data structure what is a tree. Tree is a collection of different nodes. And again, we may say we go in depth. Tree may be binary tree. Tree may be something like that. So binary means two children will be there. Like that, if we just say tree means any number of children will be there with no restriction. So that's what here we see about a tree structured directories. The generalization of two-level directory is a tree structure. Here, user can have any number of directories and subdirectories and files inside each directory as shown in the figure. So that's what you create. So now what Ashok will do, he will create two directories. One is for C drive. All his program files are there in C drive, and D drive, he is creating a D drive. And in D drive, he is creating one for Java, one folder for Java, one folder for data structure, one folder for CN, one folder for OS, one folder for DNS. And whenever we send, he will keep all his files in that. PPTs also he'll keep in a folder. If I send, he'll keep all OS materials in a OS folder. What is this we are doing? This is what is called as a tree structure directory. Folder, within that one more folder, within that one more folder, within that one more. You may have anything. And within that you may have a files. Here, every file has a path. So each one of this has a path. Path names can be of two types. One is absolute and relative. An absolute path name is a sequence of directory names starting from root to the file name. So what we do, now suppose you think he has done C drive and D drive. In D drive, he'll create second semester MCA. He has gone to one more folder. And again, within one more second semester, one folder he is creating for operating system, one he is creating for all the different subjects. Again, in operating system, he'll create one more folder within that. He may say all PPTs, all notes one more folder, PPTs one more folder, question papers one more folder, assignment one more folder. So what he is doing, he is creating four directories by directories within that. So that's what is called as a tree structure directory. So a relative path name defines the path from a current directory. For example, in a tree structured file system, in the figure we'll see in the next slide, if the current directory is root slash spell slash mail, then the relative file name may be print first name refers to the same file as does the absolute path name root and so on. That's what here just you can have a look about this tree structure directory. So root is one. In root, how many main folders we have? We have a spell is one folder, bin is one more folder, and program is one more folder. Again in spell, it is having some more folder. In spell, what we have start, mail, disk. This is one folder in spell. Again in bin, what we have? Find, count, hex, reorder. Again in program, we are creating PEM, mail. So like this, you can create any number of directory structure, and this is called as a tree structure directory. So again in mail also, I may have a program, copy, print, Excel. And again, each one I may say program. So what type of program? I may say Java programs. Again, I may say data structure program, or I may say CN program. So like this, I can create different things. Or I may say print. So I want to print so many things. You can create. So which programs you want to take a print out. Suppose if you are doing your mini project and you have taken, you have some 100 pages of mini project and you have to take a printout. Then you have done with 10 pages of printout and again some more pages. So that's what here you can see tree structure directory system. So this is what the tree structure directory what we have. So then acyclic graph directories. A tree structure prohibits the sharing of files or directories, and a cyclic graph allows directories to have shared subdirectories and files. So you can see in this figure 4.7 where we have just shown how the acyclic. So going back. So now count and count, I have created two subdirectories and I want to share these two. Then I can share them. So that's what here a cyclic graph represents the sharing. The same file or subdirectory may be in two different directories. This is useful when more than one programmers can work on the same project, need to share the files. So that's what once you complete your MCA, you go for a company. So in company, what you'll do, you would have asked, Ashok would have been given one module, and Bhavisha will be given one module, Chaitra will be given one module. So then what he may do, sometimes header files is required for all three of you. Then what the manager in the company will do, he'll keep all the header files in one place, and he'll ask all three of you, Ashok and Bhavisha and Chaitra, please share all the files, whatever is required for you for your project to create. It is there in the file, shared file. So then all three of you will share. That's what here is called as a, you're sharing the files. Next, similarly, how we create, same way we have in a multi operating system. Multi means many processors. So I want to execute my program very faster. In that case, we have to, once we create or do some edit, it should be created. Same way here, we have something called as a file system mounting. Just as files must be opened before it is used, file must be mounted before it can be available to process on the system. Same way, if I want to type my name, then what I have to open a notepad or PPT. It should be opened or created. Same way here, if I want to process any of the available files, then it should be mounted to the processor. So more specifically, the directory structure can be built out of the multiple partitions, which must be mounted to make them available within the file system namespace. The mount procedure is as follows. How do we mount? So what is the procedure we are just taking to do a mounting? So the OS is given the name of the device and the location within the file structure at which to attach the file system or mount point. Typically, a mount point is an empty directory at which the mounted file system will be attached. For instance, on Unix system, a file system containing user's home directory might be mounted as a home. Then, to access the directory structure within that file, one could precede the directory name with home /jame. Some names you can give. So that's what here we are calling it is an Unix as a mounted. So files within a file. That's what here, right? So once you click on your URL, you may say HTTP slash Google, Gmail slash my name. So like this keeps going on within exactly where you want to go. Same way here, mounting that file system under or user could result in the path name or user or chain to reach the same directory. Next, the operating system verify that the device contains a valid file system. It does so by asking the device driver to read the device directory and verify that the directory has the expected format. Finally, the OS notes in its directory structure that a file system is mounted to the specified mount point. This scheme enables the operating system to traverse its directory structure, switching among files appropriate as system as appropriate. That's what about the mounting. Next, we move on to file sharing. Just now I told sharing means all three of you want to use the same thing. So suppose if each one of you have right now what we are doing, in your in department what we were doing, seminar hall was shared between all the staff. 1 hour I used to take, another hour some other staff used to take. What we are doing, seminar hall is being shared. Same way your labs. How are your labs shared? So morning 3 hours, second semester will be using the lab. Afternoon, fourth semester will be using. And again, Monday, this was the time. Next day, morning, sixth semester will be using. Same way you would have seen your timetable. One day you have Java, one more day you have C, and one more day you have some other subject. So like that means what you are doing, we are sharing the labs. Same way here in file sharing, what we are doing, we are trying to share the file. File sharing is very essential for user who want to collaborate and to reduce the effort required to achieve a computing goal. Why do we want to share? So the same way I told, in your once you start working in your company, what you people are doing, you are sharing your projects, right? Start then your company would have got one project where the client will say that you have to complete your their project within 3 months. So if I give for one person, if I give only for Ashok, he may require 3 months to complete. But where is the time? If I give for Ashok, he may say, I want 3 months for development. Then still I have to do so many other work. Testing we have to do for the project, so many things. So then what is the option given to us? What I'll do, I'll share the same project and divide that into smaller modules. I'll give for each one of you, and I'll give the deadline saying that I want to complete all these within a month. Then Ashok will be given a deadline for 1 month. Chaitra as well as Bhavisha will be given only one month, and each one will be given with a different modules. And you will do your work and completely you'll give me back within 1 month. Then what I'll do, I'll combine all this and start executing. That's the same way here. Collaborate. All three of you will be collaborating, each one of you, and complete your work. Therefore, user-oriented OS must accommodate the need to share files in spite of difficulties. So multiple user, when an OS accommodates multiple user, the issue of file sharing, file naming, and file protection becomes important. So that's what here when we say multiple user. So now I have told Ashok, I'll give one module for Ashok, I'll give one module for Bhavisha, one for Chaitra. But when I say I'll share, I should take care in such a way that the module what I have given to Ashok, I should not give same work to Chaitra. I should not give same work for Bhavisha. All three of you should be given a different work, because if I give same, then again it will lead to me a problem only, because the client has asked me to complete within 3 months. So that's what here, when multiple users comes, it will be difficult in having some more properties like file naming. So if I say module 1, module 2, module 3, then it is fine. If I say module 1, module 1, module 1, then how it will be? It will be difficult. That's what. Then I'll say that Ashok will be given with the module 1 and he has to name all his work in a module 1. Then I'll give for Bhavisha and I'll ask her to do. You name all the files with a 222, module 2 only. And I may ask for Chaitra also. I'll say her saying that you have to name all your files directories in the with the name 3. So that's what how the naming can be. Protection is also there, and the naming also will be taken care. The system either can allow a user to access the files of other users by default, or it may require that a user specifically grant access to the files. To implement sharing and protection, the system must maintain more files and directory attributes than on a single user system. Mainly, the attribute files or directory, that is owner or a group are included. The owner is the user who may change attributes, grant access, and has the common control over the files or directory. That's what here the pro when project is assigned to you, so I'll say that you have to do only this. Then I'll restrict that Ashok has to do only module 1. He should not interfere in module 2. What I'm doing, I'm giving a permissions. I'm giving same way here in operating system also. Owner will be having a permission. The group attribute of a file is used to define a subset of users who may share access to the file. Exactly which operation can be executed by group members and other users is definable by the file owner. This is what the file sharing is. So now remote file system. So now what we are doing online is a remote file. So I'm sharing my PPT with you people, because when you log in, you can see my desktop, my window also. Then what we are doing, we are sharing. We are sharing remotely. That's what here now Ashok is in hospital, Bhavisha is in somewhere place, Chaitra is somewhere, but I am in the college. So then how we are doing? We are using all remote access only. That's what here remote file systems. So networking allow the sharing of resource spread within a campus or even throughout the world. So right now what we are doing, we are using the remote file systems. One obvious resource to share is data in the form of files. Through the evolution of network and file technology, file sharing methods have changed. In the first implemented method, users manually transfer files between machines via programs like FTP. That's what here. So what we do, file transfer protocol we have to use. So when I'm doing, I have to, what I have to do, I have to give you invitation. How I'm giving? Through Google Meet. So what we are doing, this is what file will be sent to you. So I am saying that you are invited. I am giving you some link where I have to do. Same way now we can, for your Gmail accounts, what we are doing, we are sending a transfer. That's what a file transfer will be going on. The second major method is distributed file system. So I can distribute. So why do we require distribute? Same way now, let us assume that you are doing your mini project, and what you do, you keep one copy in your mail, you keep one copy in your pen drive, one copy in your laptop. Why you are keeping? So that if one is by chance deleted, other will be there as a backup to continue with your project. Same way here, distributed file system, what it is doing, it will be distributed in which remote directories are visible for the local machine. In some way, the third method, the World Wide Web, is a reversion for to do the first. A browser is needed to again access to the remote files. Same way now, if I log in for your giving you a Google Meet mail IDs, what I have to do, I have to log in. To log in, I should have a browser. Same way here, you may have any browser, and we say www dot. Later we have started with HTTP. That's what here. These things, for anything we need a URLs. So a browser is needed to gain access to the remote file, and separate operations are used to transfer files. So FTP is used for both synchronous and authenticate access. So now, if I know your mail IDs, then only I can send you your PPT's details. That's what you can see. Right now, you have a official mail IDs. What is official mail IDs? You have your USN at bmsit.in. So we are sending all your details to that part. So that's what here FTP, but you should have a authentication for all this. So to open your account, you should use your username and a password. Password is what I will not be knowing. You will be knowing. That's what you may change. So that's what the authentication. Anonymous access allow a user to transfer files without having an account on a remote system. The World Wide Web uses anonymous file change almost exclusively. FDS involves a much tighter integration between the machine that is accessing the remote files and the machine providing the files. So that's what about a remote file system. So along with this, for a remote file, we should have a protection. So the same way, you have so many apps in your mobile. You have one app for shopping, that may be Flipkart or Amazon. So you have the app, you will be given authentication. Authentication, your username and password means why do we repeat? To protect, so that your other person cannot have a access to your details. That's the reason here also protection. When information is kept in the computer system, we want to keep it safe from a physical damage, reliability, and improve access or protection. Same way now, you would have seen that throughout the world, or at least in India, we have a one app called as the Arogya Setu app. So why we are using? To know whether any positive person comes near to us. If he comes, we should be safe enough. To monitor all this, Arogya Setu app, we have been invited. So then why do we require? So we require so that it will be tracking, it will be tracked. So along with that, you can see uh, they are not disclosing which person is having what is his name. No, they will just say that there is one person who is positively. They are not disclosing any of our details. That's what here the same way protection. So reliability is generally provided by keeping duplicate copies of files. So what we are doing, we try to keep. That's what I told you. Your mini project, what you'll do, you keep one in your pen drive, one you're keeping in your hard disk, one you may keep it in file. So why reliable? You don't rely only on pen drive. You cannot rely only on your hard disk. That's why you keep a multiple or duplicates. Many computers have system programs that automatically copy disk files on tape at a regular interval. File system can be damaged by hardware problems such as an error in reading or writing, power struts or failures, head crashes, dirt, temperature extremes, and vandalism. Files may be deleted accidentally. Sometimes you may have those. If I don't have backup, power backup is not there, so there may be fluctuations in the thing. Then there may be damage in the laptops or system. So then how about our files? So to keep all these protected, we should have a backup copy. That's the reason we have a batteries where it will keep a backup. Files may be deleted accidentally. Bugs in the file system software can also cause file contents to be lost. Protection can be provided in many ways. For a small single user system, we might provide protection by physically removing the floppy disk and looking them in a disk drawer or file cabinet. So what are the type of file access we have? So we have a type of access. Protection of files can be achieved by restricting the user from accessing those files. Protection mechanism provide controlled access by limiting the types of files access that can be made. Access is permitted or denied depending on several factors, one of which is a type of access request. Several different types of operations may be controlled. Same way I told you, Arogya Setu app. So, do we have any option of entering my details or giving, saying that I am not well? I have so no. We can just monitor. We can only read. The same way here also, you may have a different types of access. So one is read. So what we can do, read from the file. I can only read. So the same way we have a TV channels. So we have so many. What is that? If you click on news, we can only see. I cannot change anything in that. That's what a read. Right? So you are doing your projects. You can change your first page. You can change your name. You can edit your file. That's what a write. Example of write. Execute. Today you may execute your Java program. You may execute data structure. So you can execute anything. To execute that, you have to load into the CPU with the compiler. So that's what execute is. Load the file into memory and execute it. Append. So yesterday you have typed something. We are asking you to type or submit a assignment. One program, one assignment problem you have solved, and you have to write two more. So you will see that today you have tried and tomorrow you'll do it. That's what one page you have done, second page you'll be doing. That's what is called as a append. Delete. So delete the file and free its space for possible reuse. So now suppose you think that you have your laptop and you have stored so many movies and you want to keep your project. Then they say there is no space. Then what you'll do, you'll delete some movie which you can think that not required at this moment because priority for you may be for your keeping your projects. Then you may delete. That's a way where you can use a delete option. List the name and the attributes of the file. So what we do, you may list. So now I am listing. So who are there in my class? The name and attributes of the file. So what is the name? I may say Ashok, Bhavisha, Chaitra, all these are your names. Same way your list also will be having name. And attributes of the file, I may say what is your Ashok is a boy, Bhavisha is a girl, something like this we can give. That's what the same way attributes. What are the type of attributes we have? These are the type of access for the file system. So in the same way, access control. Who will be controlling all this? So access control list will also be there. So usually protection is achieved by controlling file access depending on the identity of the user. Various users may need different types of access to a file or a directory. Hence, an access control list, that's what ACL is attached with every file and directory. It specifies username and type of access allowed for each user. So when a user requests access to a particular file, the operating system checks the access list associated with that file. If that user is listed in the request access, the access will be allowed. Otherwise, the protection violation occurs and a user job is denied access to the file system. That's what whenever you open anything. So sometimes it will say, oh, already suppose you think you have some app and modification is there, then it will be blinking you. There is some modification for this, modification for this. That's what your access control. So it will be controlled. Suppose you are using some, if you want to go abroad, what are the authentication you should have? We should have a passport. Not only passport, some countries, if it is very far, then you should have a visa also. So like this, what is all this? Protection, access control, whether it will be allowed for you or not. That's what your access control is. The main problem with access list is their length. So what is the length of your access control? If we want to allow everyone to read a file, we must list all user with the read access. Suppose if I say that I am sending you a PPT, what I am sending, I may send your Acrobat or PDF file. So if I send PDF file, then you cannot edit anything. The same way, if I send Word file, you can edit. That's how the different ways I can set. That's what a read access. This technique has two undesirable consequences. Constructing such a list may be tedious and unrewinding task, especially if we do not know in advance the list of users in the system. The directory entry previously of fixed size now needs to be of varying variable size, resulting in more complicated space management. That's what here, these are the consequences what we can do with the directory. So next we have something called as a, these problems can be resolved by use of condensed version of access list. To condense the length of the access control list, many systems recognize three classification of user in connection with each file. So one user, one is owner, group, universe. So the same way, now what we have a groups. Now what we need, so I will send for a whole class. What I am doing, group. Owner is what? So now if I want to conduct any Google Meet, we should have a permission. So again, permission. Now, when how we are sending? We are sending through a BMSIT login. So when I'm sending BMS using a BMSIT login, I'm sending the Google will identify. Okay, these are wherever there is a mail ID as bmsit.in, it will say okay within. So sometimes we may have outside this BMSIT also. Then it will ask us whether you are allowing the outside peoples to enter your class or no. That's how you're the owner, group, and a universe. So who is the owner? The user who created the file is the owner. Now I am creating every day. All the staffs are creating. Then who are they? They are the owner. Group, to which group? I am handling a second semester. I have to send for the second semester mail IDs. That's what the group. A set of users who are sharing the file and need similar access is a group or a work group. Universe, all other users in the system constitute a universe. In the most of the operating system, the access is denoted by RWX, indicating read, write, and execute. A sequence of these characters is used to understand the type of access provided to each user. So that's what here. These are the connection with the files owner, group, and the universe. Next, we move on file system structure. So before we move on to this, I'll just stop here and have a summary what we have done till now. So today we have started with directory structure. So what is a directory? It is, I can create any number of directories. Again, based on that, I can do. So I may say how are my directories created. I'll be having one directory. Within that, I may have different files. I may have any type of files. So in the last class, we have seen about what are the files. Files may be text files, audio files, video files, image files. There may be so many files. That's what you can keep in a directory. That's what you we partition. So for memory is been partitioned into partitioned. So now at least in this diagram we have partitioned into three: partition A, partition B, partition C. In partition AB is in one disk, in the hard disk one. So partition C is in a disk 2 and disk 3. So that's how you can do it. So that's what a directory file says to us. So in the directory also, what are the operations we can do? We can do a searching for a file, we can create a file, we can delete a file, we can list a directory. So that's what you can see. If you want to know how many directories are there with your DOS prompt, we have a command called as dir. So in the Windows, you just click on that particular thing, it all will be listed. And even you can change the properties. You may say whether I want to view large one or a small one, the list and their names, everything. So you can change. So that's what the list of directory, rename a file, traverse the file system. These are the some of the operations you can do on a directory. So then we have seen about a single level directory. So what is single level directory? We keep all the files in one place. That's what is called as a single directory. Everything, all files you are keeping in this one directory. So what may be the problem in the real time is if you keep all your files, your operating system, your user file, your data structure programs, your Java program, your CN program, everything, if you keep it in one memory, then it will be difficult for you to search also. Not only searching problem, by chance if you delete any system files, your operating system will go. Along with the operating system, your files will also go. That's the reason always it is safe not to have a single directory. We should have a some more directory structures, something like two level directory. Minimum at least we should have a two level directory. So one for system file, one for the user file. In the user file, you can create so many files. So that's what a two level directory is. So that's what this is a diagram where we have just seen about a two level directory where master file MFD means what? Master file directory. What is UFD? User file directory. What is master file? Master file is something like your root. All your roots are there. So now, so how many users I can create? How many people are there? So many users I can create. And how many user file directories are there? So many user file directories we can use. Then we have seen about the tree structure directory. So more than one, more than two, we call it as a tree. So now, how many people are there? So many directories you can create. So that's what this is one example when we have seen the picture how this tree structure, tree directory structures are available. So one is root, next level, next level, next level like this. You can go any level. That is what is called as a tree structure directory system. We have seen about the acyclic graph directories. That's what I gave you an example. In case if you want to share some data, then you both the directories can be shared. So that's what is an example of a cyclic. Then we have seen about a file system mounting. So before we type anything, we should create. Same way before the processor has required, you have to keep all those files to be mounted in the CPU. Then we have seen about a file sharing. So when why do we require file sharing? Because there is a concept of multi-user. Multi means many people. So when many people are using, we have to share. Same way I gave you an example of lab. So we have so many systems, but the same system should be shared between all the students. Second sem, fourth sem, and sixth sem. So that's how we are sharing. Same way here, file sharing concept is also used. Now whatever we are doing because of COVID-19, we are not able to meet physically. So then what we have done, we are using a remote files. That is what online classes. So that is a concept where we are using a remote file logins, a remote file system. Same way now what we are doing, I am sending you through your mails all my files. I will send all notes as well as PPTs for you people related to the operating system. Not only those, I am sending even your assignments. And we have even conducted a multiple MCQs for you as a test one. That's how all we are doing. That is how the remote file system is being done. And we have seen protection. So that's what you would have seen at least in your test MCQ. There was a protection. You cannot edit any of your questions. You can only answer them. That's what a protection plays. Same way it can be with anything. So protection is also required. And what are the types of access we have? We may have a read, write, execute, append, delete, write a list. That's what we can do with respect to access of the file. Then control, who will be controlling? So the same way your online class has been controlled by one particular person who is created. Same way all your other details should be controlled. What are the restrictions we are trying to do? And we have seen how we are doing. We are doing a donor, group, and a universe. And I'll stop here and we continue this in the next lecture, the same fourth unit, that is module. So I say to you people, concentrate, because 4 and 5 is very small units. You can complete studying those two very fast. So I'll stop here and we'll continue in the next class.